And thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, a local high school basketball team has made history, bringing home their first state championship in 30 years. We were at Golden One Center in Sacramento with a breakdown of their victory. And daylight saving time is nearly upon us. Losing that hour of sleep in exchange for an hour of sunlight can be dangerous for people on the road. What you need to know about drowsy driving. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Well, here's our first look at the lineup on this Friday. Companies are struggling to find employees, so now they're investing more into the people they already have. What this means for you. And remember a time when we didn't all depend on Google all the time? Well, one man is leaving the internet behind to look for answers the old-fashioned way. We're going to introduce you to a man who's known as Human Google. And a group of women are proving that age is not an excuse when it comes to being active, even as some of them get close to 100 years old. A story you're only going to see on the Now today.
Good evening. The Foothill High School boys basketball team has made history today in Sacramento, bringing home their first state championship title since 1988. Their victory had fans in the stand on their feet. Oh, yeah, well deserved. The Foothill Trojans took on Mount Shasta at the Golden One Center in Sacramento this afternoon. It was a tight battle into the second half. Senior Elijah Seals with the big-time slam, putting 22 points in the net. Sophomore guard Jaden Phillips led the team with 25 points. The team clearly on their way to victory by the fourth. This was the first state title brought home by Foothill High in 30 years, a fact that makes head coach Wes Davis very proud.
You know, when we come from in Bakersfield, a lot of times we just talk about winning the section championship. We never fully imagined being a part of this state basketball championship tournament. And the fact that we're here today, it tastes really good.
The McFarland girls basketball team was also looking for the school's first ever state title. The Cougars took on Oakland Wildcats today, eventually falling 51-35. The ladies would finish in second place and remain the only ladies team to have made it to a D3 state championship. Well, it's that time of year again, daylight saving time, when we jump ahead 1 hour, losing an hour of sleep. A new report from AAA says drowsy driving can nearly double your risk of being in a crash. The Now's Gio Benitez looks at the risks of driving while you are sleep deprived.
Car crashes like this happen a lot. Officials say a suspected drowsy driver crashed into this truck, pushing it into the barrier. And this driver slamming into a toll booth, and he's ejected. Everyone survived these accidents, but experts estimate that more than 7,000 people have been killed in drowsy driving-related crashes over the last decade.
I've definitely dozed off. It's about 1 a.m. now.
Now I'm staying up to demonstrate how devastating lack of sleep can be on the brain, all in an effort to help prevent accidents.
I probably got, if I were to add it all up, about 2 hours of sleep.
After being up for most of the past 29 hours, I get into a driving simulator at the Classic Car Club of Manhattan. Meeting me there, experts from New York's Mount Sinai Integrative Sleep Center, who will monitor my alertness during a driving simulation test. They hook me up to a device that will monitor my brain waves.
Sleep is defined predominantly by the frequency of your brain waves, and as you start to go to sleep, that rhythm should slow down.
My first 6 minutes in the simulator, smooth driving, but then crash after crash after crash. After 15 minutes, a significant slowdown, lots of yawns, and more spinouts. In fact, I would crash or spin out about once a minute. After half an hour, I just had to stop.
There were moments when suddenly my attention would be back on the road, but I wouldn't remember what happened immediately before.
Some of what you're describing we call automatic behaviors. This is especially when people are driving on the highway. They just get into this automated mode.
Like a trance.
Yeah, like a trance.
Back at Mount Sinai's lab, my results.
So, doctor, what did you find?
While there was no frank sleep, that there were definitely lots of pieces of evidence of increased drowsiness, including a lot of microsleep. So we see that there are these bursts of slower activities that are indicative of your brain going offline.
Here's what stunned me. In those 30 minutes of driving, I experienced about 30 episodes of what experts call microsleep. That's when the brain goes offline for 1 to 3 seconds. Essentially, even though my eyes were mostly open and I appeared awake, my brain would briefly go into sleep mode.
The frequency with which it was occurring was really, to me, very dramatic.
Fragmented sleep.
I think it would have been pretty similar if you hadn't slept at all.
That was the Now's Gio Benitez reporting. One study found people who slept 6 hours a night functioned just as poorly as those who stayed awake for 2 days straight. Officials say adults need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per night to function properly. 2 local breweries joined forces with a charity today celebrating not just International Women's Day, but National Brew Day. Today, the Bakersfield Beer Company and Great Change Brewing Company teamed up with the Pink Boots Society to support women who are involved in the craft beer industry. The Pink Boots Society is an international nonprofit organization which offers scholarships and education for women looking to get into brewing. The breweries are crafting a craft brew using a special variety of hops, which will be ready in about 2 weeks. One local business owner says she's learning a lot about brewing and expanding her network through the Pink Boots Society.
What I've been learning through Pink Boots Society is amazing. There's some just great stuff going on with women and in the beer industry, which, you kind of think of as a male-dominated world, and it's, it's really a lot more women are in that world than we think, so it's kind of fun.
The special craft brew is a double IPA. When the beer is ready, it'll be sold at Great Change and the Bakersfield Beer Company. For each pint sold, $1 will be donated to the Pink Boots Society.
Let's start the Now News feed. The man police say kidnapped 13-year-old Jamie Kloss in Wisconsin is speaking from jail. Jake Patterson sent a local TV station a letter. It says that he plans to plead guilty to murder and kidnapping charges. Police say Patterson held the 13-year-old girl for 88 days after he killed her parents. A Utah teacher on leave for forcing a 9-year-old student to remove ashes from his forehead on Ash Wednesday. The school says the teacher told the student that the ashes were inappropriate. The district has apologized and says it's investigating. Take a look at this video here. Scary stuff. A man pouring fuel on his neighbor's porch while they were asleep. Police say the man tried to light the diesel on fire. Authorities say if this was petroleum, could have been a very deadly situation. The man said he was trying to get rid of a ghost. He's now under arrest. We have new numbers today showing that unemployment is still near record low. Hiring's just down slightly at 3.8%. Employers only added 20,000 jobs, which is the fewest in 18 months. Wages are up about 3.5% from year to year. All of these point to a job market in need of the right workers. Well, more employers are filling that void from within, training the workers they already have. A Society of Human Resource Management survey of its members found 86% offered some sort of professional development in 2018. 45% offered cross-training to develop other skills not directly related to the employee's job. Now, this training can include anything from group discussions or in-person lectures to technology-based lessons, simulators or computer-based programs, even something as simple as mentoring and coaching. Well, Glassdoor just put out a list of companies with some of the best professional development programs. Take a look. Milwaukee Tool, Walgreens, Enterprise, and Pilot Flying J are just a few of the companies that you can check out if paid training is important to you. All right, well, you're going to have zero excuses to hit the gym after our next story here in our lineup, how these women are using powerlifting to stay healthy, even as some get close to 100 years old. Well, a warning today about an increasingly popular form of social smoking. The American Heart Association published a new scientific statement. It says that there is growing evidence that hookah not only impacts your lungs, but your heart rate and blood pressure as well. Hookah is basically smoking tobacco, sometimes with fruity flavors added through a water pipe. It is growing in popularity among young people in cafes and lounges. One of the biggest concerns is there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to hookah. Surveys found younger people think that it's safer than cigarettes. Truth is, water doesn't filter out the harmful things in tobacco. Research suggests that people use hookah for 30 minutes or more because they are socializing and they're smoking from the pipe, breathing in secondhand smoke as well. Chemical concentration and carbon monoxide exposure is higher than a cigarette. Other surveys point to hookah users being more likely to start smoking cigarettes than those who have never tried it. Well, some people stick to one airline just to rack up miles. Experts say that you want to consider switching up airlines because they do offer many different things. Money.com compared all the airlines based on different factors, everything from price to customer experience. Alaska Airlines was the best. Southwest and Delta were second and third. Spirit had the average lowest prices on round-trip tickets. Delta scored the best for being on time. Well, building a more gender-balanced world is the message that is tied into International Women's Day. And Annie Taylor's here with a look at women in action across the globe.
Women are taking to social media, holding events, and in some places protesting today to raise awareness or celebrate achievements in diversity and gender equality. The campaign this year is Balance for Better, which is why you're seeing pictures on social media of people holding out their hands in a balanced pose. In other parts of the world, women are marching and even threatening to go on strike to highlight pay gaps. Police were called to this protest in Spain. And Google's homepage features quotes and art from various women pioneers, international female writers, architects, and astronauts.
I'm not going to fight your war. I'm going to end it.
There it is. Marvel's first solo female superhero movie was timed to hit theaters on International Women's Day. It highlights the need for greater female visibility in front of and behind cameras. And a little girl who managed to get basketball star Steph Curry to be more inclusive. I love this. Today, he released a new women's shoe. This was after a 9-year-old little girl wrote Curry and asked why his shoes only came in boys' sizes. Proceeds will go towards a college scholarship for female students.
Thousands of fish will be loaded up tomorrow at the lake at the park at Riverwalk for the annual Trout Fishing Derby. The annual Trout Fishing Derby costs just $20 per entry and benefits the Firefighters Relief Association. At the Derby, kids will get the chance to catch fish with off-duty firefighters. Some of the fish are tagged and worth cash prizes. You still have time to get out your fishing pole and get involved. The Derby starts at 6 a.m. and goes until noon at the park at Riverwalk on Stockdale Highway. Well, good luck to those people searching for those cash prizes. Taking a live look outside. Oh, look, clear enough. You can see an airplane going by, which is great. Hopefully it stays that way for the fishing derby, Allison.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice tomorrow. Some passing clouds, cool temperatures, but thankfully dry conditions. So great day to get out today. It was definitely cool, and we felt that. Thankfully, the sun made it a little bit warm, but 58 degrees was our high, so actually down 10 degrees from average for this time of year, and you can expect those below seasonal temperatures to continue through the weekend on the back end of this winter weather storm that made its way through the county overnight last night into the early morning hours today. We're going to be seeing the chance for some lingering showers as well as the chance for black ice, especially over the passes through the early morning hours tomorrow. So just make sure that you are keeping that in mind. But today we were tracking those strong winds, the strongest winds in Mojave reaching up to 48 miles per hour. And we are tracking a wind advisory to continue in our mountain and desert cities until 10 p.m. this evening. But that means good air quality tomorrow. We'll have an AQI of 40 here in the valley, and temperatures again are going to be holding on to right around that 60-degree mark here in the valley. 51 as a high in Isabella tomorrow and 44 in Tehachapi. Now still looking at breezy conditions, but not quite as strong as what we were seeing today. Then we are tracking our next storm moving into the county late Saturday. You can expect just cloudy skies as we head throughout the daylight hours, but as soon as the night falls, we do have the chance for some scattered showers here in the valley. Again, it's going to be very light rain, but the mountains are going to be seeing that bigger chance of rain throughout the day on Sunday, lingering a little bit into Monday, and then across the county we are tracking the chance to see those showers. Even more snow on the way in the mountains, then drying out by Wednesday. Mostly clear skies Thursday and Friday, and look at this, a high of 70 degrees on Saturday, up to 73 on Sunday. It is going to be feeling very nice out there. Finally back to those above seasonal temperatures. Just have to get through a few more days of these cool temperatures. Chris?
Let's start the Now News feed. This is video of a SpaceX capsule landing in the ocean this morning after being launched into space. Now, only a dummy was on board, but this was a dummy that had sensors to detect what a human would feel in a splashdown situation like this. SpaceX is testing to see if it can send a human crew into space. A German man going to spend the rest of his life in prison for poisoning his coworkers' sandwiches. Authorities say that he put stuff like mercury in the sandwiches for years. One person ended up being in a coma. Well, take a look at this. Another super bloom in Southern California. It's the second one in 2 years, which is pretty rare. This is video from Borrego Springs. Now, it's rare to have blooms 2 years in a row, but experts credit rain that happened 2 years ago for causing this. Well, a new JAMA study that's out today says that physical activity later in life is linked to a lower risk of dying, even in older people who haven't been very active. And one group of women is proving that research to be true. For the ladies in this gym, age isn't the number that matters most.
So I'm going to be building up to 200. I want to get that done before I'm 80 years old.
78-year-old Bonnie Thurston is talking about how much she can deadlift.
I said, well, okay, I've been active all of my life. So this exercise itself was not a new concept for me. I've always been active. However, I just had never even envisioned the idea of doing powerlifting.
7 years ago, she struggled with osteoporosis. Then she found a powerlifting group for seniors.
I now weigh more than I weighed when I started this, but I wear the same size clothes. And the reason is that I have stronger bones, larger bones, and more muscle on my body than I did when I started this.
They deadlift, they bench, they pull sleds. And while Thurston is doing all of this as she pushes 80, she's not even the oldest person in here. Edith Murway-Trena.
As a matter of fact, I always tell everybody I have a muscle. And that's exactly what happens when I do that. Everybody says, oh, look at that.
Is 97.
But I've always had muscles. I just had to learn to use them.
Bill Beakley leads this group. He's trained powerlifters since the 90s.
Don't be intimidated by what these ladies are doing because they all started just moving their bodies.
He says lifting correctly can help increase bone density and helps fight conditions like osteoporosis. It also helps these women in everyday life.
It's very functional. Some of them said that they could carry their groceries a little easier now. They don't need help groceries in and out of the car.
And Edith says that movement is so important as she nears 100.
It is very important to get out of the bed in the morning, put your feet on the floor if it's possible, and start moving around. The more you move, the more exercise you get, the more your body responds.
She says she was nervous about the idea of powerlifting at first, but now she trains 3 days a week.
When you start being too old for something, you are too old for something. You have to know that you are capable of doing whatever you want to make yourself do.
And she wants other seniors to not let the weight of getting older stop them from giving this a try. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And remember a time when we all didn't have to depend on Google for every question we have? Well, one man is leaving the internet behind to look for answers the old-fashioned way. And today, you're going to meet the person known as Human Google. Google has essentially become a verb for finding answers. Might surprise you that a team at New York's public library is finding answers the old-fashioned way, with books. Yeah, the Now's Chris Welch introducing us to the service often referred to as the human Google.
Deep inside one of the largest libraries in the world, beyond the glitz of its famous reading rooms, sits a man who helps solve some of the most pressing questions of our time.
Oh, yeah. So here's one. What was Dr. Seuss's favorite character from his books?
Okay, so they aren't always a matter of life and death.
I guess I'll claim that one.
But they are real questions, to which people want real answers.
Well, we are a telephone reference service.
Bernard Van Marseveen is sort of like...
Yeah, so there it is.
A human search engine.
Try to go down to the stacks and see if we have it.
And instead of scouring the internet...
So we are going to go subterranean here.
He descends into the depths of the library's research stacks.
This is the not-so-glamorous part.
Looking for a needle.
I think it's JFE, but I would hate to be wrong.
In a haystack of 53 million books.
It's not right. Nope, that's not it. Sorry.
Van Marseveen gets calls and emails on infinite subject matter.
Okay. My bad.
Usually from people who fall into a few categories.
Mostly, it's those who can't look things up in Google. So it would tend to be seniors, sometimes students who are doing a class assignment, sometimes people who just, for whatever reason, don't have internet connection.
He says that scanning the shelves, knowing he might make someone's day...
So here we go. 86.
...is enough to make his, too.
Satisfaction to be able to help somebody scratch that itch that they have to learn something and to know something. 83. Oh.
And a find like this...
And there it is. Okay.
It doesn't get much better.
So later, he called The Lorax his favorite book and TV production.
Reporting for The Now in New York.
Exciting. This is what I live for.
I'm Chris Welch.
Sad to say, right?
All right, Chris, thank you. And look, spring is fast approaching, which means it's usually time for spring cleaning, right? But you should also think about cleaning up your health. Monday here on The Now, the things you should be doing to feel better year-round.
And coming up after the break, one final check of your weekend forecast. We've made it to Friday. What Saturday and Sunday looks like next.
Well, as we head into your Friday evening, temperatures are cooling down quickly. 48 degrees right now here in Bakersfield, already at or below that freezing mark down in Tehachapi as well as in Fraser Park. But dry weather is on the way as we head into your Saturday. During the daylight hours, we are going to be dry with just a few passing clouds. Then Sunday looks to be our next chance of light rain here in the valley and the chance to see snow in the mountains. Mostly dry on Monday, and then another storm making its way into the county on Tuesday. But I do have good news. Dry and warming temperatures are on the way by the end of next week. It looks like next weekend we could be up to 70, potentially even reaching 73 degrees by Sunday. So very exciting, but just a reminder this weekend, daylight savings time, turn those clocks ahead an hour. We are springing forward at 2 a.m. on Sunday, so maybe change those clocks on Saturday night, just so you aren't confused.
This is the time change we don't like.
Yeah,
but that's okay. We'll do it. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.